kettlebell work, 40 minutes. It's going to be double clean and press for the first. I'm going to do it every other minute. So double clean and press, and then jumping lunges for the first 20 minutes. And I am using double 24s. I was looking at doing the pentathlon thing again, but low back's feeling a little iffy, so decided to do something a little less demanding in that regard. Also, I was doing it wrong. You don't do clean and push press at the end, it's just push press. So that's why I only hit 80 reps. I was doing the wrong exercise. Like I said, I didn't think it was possible time-wise to even get that many. But yeah, I don't feel like doing any jerks. Knees are a little iffy. So I'm gonna do this. This Jeff Newport style clean and press session. I don't know if I want to do lunges or just straight jump squats. Let's try to just jump squats with kettlebells. That felt good. I wanted to get back to doing weighted jumps for a while now. You could definitely call this more of a strength and power session, I guess. Heard that dude from Lost Prophets, he and Watkins got killed. So that's pretty cool. I think 6 is a good number for those because I haven't done them in forever. So, you know, why go super hardcore just yet? Shoulder's still feeling a little bit meh from the sessions last week. That was a lot of overhead work in those 4. A lot of overhead volume. And I did double long cycle ladders the other day, so the right shoulder feeling a little tweaked, I guess. You can do those a couple of ways. I've seen Denis Vasilov put it behind his back and do some half type of jumps with them. As always, when I do stuff like that, I like to be as explosive as possible. So I think for the next round of jumps, I'm just going to do body weight and compare the two. I probably should have started with those, to be honest. That was a push press. Because like I said, shoulder feeling a bit creaky. The thing about the push press, it incorporates more muscle because you're engaging your legs a lot more. So it gets the heart rate up a little higher, more force production. So if I'm going to be just jumping without the weights for this round here, makes sense. But you can see the difference. You can see I'm no pro athlete. Well, I definitely felt my knee more on that one. It's not a good thing. Due to the various accumulated injuries, I am considering just going on a bodybuilding arc for a while, where I just focus on aesthetics, because my body's feeling pretty beat up these days from all this stupid shit. Jumping goblet squats. That one's probably the easiest version so far. One thing that annoys me about Jeff Newford is that he says that just a clean and press is a better muscle builder than a clean and push press. And that's just not true. When you do a push press, you engage your quads and even your hamstrings a bit more. And so you recruit more muscle. That's how Dennis does these. Although he does a bit less of a jump. That was the easiest version. So yeah, even the body weight jump squat was tougher. The reason I think you can just put more into it. But I started doing weighted jumps as a teenager when I saw that George St. Pierre did them. And I was like, well, he's pretty badass. Let me do that. And since I started kettlebells, it kind of fell out for me. But yeah, I'm kind of contemplating the bodybuilding arc. For one thing, I never really tried it. All my training in the gym was focused around powerlifting, all my weight training as a teenager and in my 20s was focused around boxing. And my kettlebell training is just totally different. Nice and quick. Nice and springy there. The main reason I like jumping is because it just blows the lungs up. But yeah, like, I might try it. The whole bodybuilding thing, give it a shot. To focus on the aesthetics part, I'd be doing a bit more cardio than when I was powerlifting. So, powerlifting training, rather. I never actually competed, so technically, not a power lifter. But basically, all my training throughout my existence has been focused around performance. So maybe if I just went to the gym, listened to metal, and had fun lifting weights to look good, to look a certain way, and not worry about pushing weight or doing crazy weighted explosive stuff. Maybe I could heal up these injuries. I'd probably end up looking better too, because the volume's high, the intensity's relatively low, so I'll probably just drop some more fat that way. I used to do a ton of overhead press work with barbells when I was younger, because I always heard that was the more athletic movement. And nobody in my boxing gym ever did them, really. So I would do all types. I'd do Z press, kneeling clean and press, push press, and the push press was always my favorite variation, because I felt like it just hit everything better. You could use more weight and you just engage more of your body. So it had an extra conditioning add-on that normal pressing just doesn't. I never use the rack either. I always clean the barbell off the floor. And that's why to this day I feel like I still maintain a decent overhead press. Even without training it. Because a jerk doesn't train pressing strength as much as you might think. Because it's like a push press helps you start the press. A jerk kind of just launches the weight overhead. So I don't really train overhead press that often. But I can still go to the gym and rep 185 and put up 200. For a few reps. And if I push press, I can get 225. That's assuming I'm not trying to lower the bar to collarbone. So I keep the bar at the neckline. If I go lower, first of all, my shoulder starts to hurt. Then I also can't push as much weight. But I have fairly long arms, so that's why. But yeah, this session, not too bad. This next round, I'm just gonna do push press. So I'm not gonna do cleans. And I would say if you're really trying to build as much muscle as possible with kettlebells for some reason, you want to focus on just the press. So you want to do your cleans and presses separately. The reason's pretty simple. If you do, say, 5 or 6 cleans consecutively, you're putting the muscles under more stress. Same thing if you do presses. If you do a clean and then a press, and then a clean and then a press, you're breaking it up. So the mechanical tension isn't as heavy on the muscles. It's like you wouldn't go to the gym and do a bicep curl and then a press and then a tricep extension. You would do your bicep curls to failure, ideally, and then you would do the other stuff. You might superset, so do 12 and 12, but you're not going to do one into the other. Much tougher on the shoulders. And from a conditioning standpoint, not like super much, not that much easier. It's a little bit easier than doing the clean. But if your goal is for maximal muscular development with kettlebells, do a complex where you do each movement consecutively rather than a chain. So 5 cleans, 5 press, 5 squat, 5 clean, something like that. I do like the jumping lunges quite a bit. This is not the ideal floor surface for them. But basically, I just love training. And the more out of breath I am doing it, while also getting to move relatively heavy weight consecutively over and over and over again, I generally don't care what I'm doing. I have a preference for kettlebells, but I could see doing the high volume bodybuilding training for a while. Especially if it gives me a chance to heal up fully. So I stopped using the weights for the jumps. The reason being, one, it's more comfortable on my knees. But two, I didn't really notice much of a difference from the double kettlebell jump I started with to the bodyweight jump. Just because the bodyweight jump is so much quicker. So everything's firing faster to get me up in the air. And then the bodyweight jump's definitely harder than the single bell jumps. So why would I ever waste time doing those? So personally, I think jump training works best without weights. But also, I switched to the push press. Which obviously engages the quads a lot more. So, there kind of just isn't a need to do weighted jump squats right now. I don't know how many rounds is left. Like 12, I guess. Nice. But yeah, you can see my press endurance is still pretty damn high. Like, I can still just nail these the rest of the session, even with my right shoulder feeling a little bummed out. And you can kind of see that real strength doesn't tend to go away very easily. And there isn't really, the reason I like the overhead more than the bench press is because with the bench press, there's a lot of ways to like soft cheat to make it easier. It's not the case with the overhead press. Like, the only way to cheat an overhead press is to actually cheat it. Like pulling an Alex Leonidas and claiming you press 225 when in reality you're pressing like 165 and the weights aren't in camera. A push press isn't a cheat, it's its own lift. But with the bench you can do like a super arch and you drive your legs into the ground. There's a lot of ways to soft cheat the bench press to get as much weight up as possible. It's not so with the clean and press or the clean and push press. I am doing more of a sit down clean rather than a swing clean. And the simple reason is just because that's kind of how Jeff Newford does his. And that version engages more quads and less posterior chain. So for this section, I feel like it makes a lot of sense. So you can see I'm not the most explosive jumper, at least not vertically, but I can do it with other shit over a long period of time and keep up the same force production. So I may not be the most explosive, but I definitely have a lot more endurance than the dudes who tend to be more explosive. And that just comes down to your muscle fiber type. This is why, well, combined with my lack of relative enjoyment, I decided to move away from strength lifting, powerlifting sports. I do like side to side jumps and stuff, but this linoleum is kind of slick. So I'm not really looking forward to doing that. So I haven't done it. Because if I slip, I'm going to be annoyed. But those are great. More coordination, different stabilizer muscles engaged. When I was a teenager, I used to do this program, Insanity, for extra credit. And I had a lot of jumps. Side to side, jumping lunges, all that good shit. A lot of push-ups too. If I could find that again, I might run through it. Just for fun. Yeah, the dude's a little annoying, but it was a fun program. Oh, I found out that my dying bride kicked Aaron out of the band. So that's kind of bullshit. That was one of my favorite bands. Now they got the guy from Soilwork, I think. Don't like him. I think there's one more round. So, obviously this isn't the easiest training in the world, but it's not super hard. It's not as hard as just doing the straight ballistic work, like really high volume snatches or long cycle. So this is a nice in between. And if you haven't tried jump training before, even if you go to the gym and you're a bodybuilder or something, after you get done with a set, throw in some jumps. Start with 6 jumps, as explosive and as fast as you can, just body weight. Do that for your set of 4 or whatever you're doing. And then on your next exercise, maybe throw in some jumping lunges. And then slowly increase the volume over time. It will blow your conditioning right the fuck up. And you're not having to do extra work. I would say if you do a 12 to 16 set bodybuilding routine and you throw in a set of jumps after each one, you will be in way better shape doing that consistently than if you just were to do treadmill at a very easy pace like most of these YouTube people tell you to do. 30 minutes twice a week. You'll be in way better shape if you do the jumps after every set. I guarantee it. And you won't have to do normal boring ass cardio. In fact, I am thinking of testing my bodybuilding premise just to kind of see, give it a few months doing it. I do check-ins with the YouTube to show off any results. Might work. I think it could work. Alright, so that's the 40-minute session. 120 push press mixed with strict press. Clean and push press. All of them didn't have a clean. I think I did 4 sets without the cleans. But so mostly clean and push press session. Because the push press is a little easier on my right shoulder, which is feeling a little meh. Jump squats. I don't feel like you need the weight. And I feel like if you were to use weight, you'd be better off with a trap bar because it's a solid piece and you can stand in there. You don't have to worry about the kettlebells. They were kind of floppy a little bit, which might have been why it irritated my knee a bit more. But honestly, just doing the body weight jumps, because you can do them a lot faster, the effect on the heart rate were the same as the double bell jump. And the single bell jump wasn't close to the body weight jump. So, yeah, there is something to be said for speed when you're doing jump training. I wouldn't call it plyometric. Plyometric is a specific training method, usually involving broad jumps and box jumps. You're not spamming reps and you're trying to be as absolute explosive as possible for 1 to maybe 3 reps. So I would not call that plyometric training, but I would call it jump training because you are jumping and it does blow up your lungs. So it can be used as a conditioning tool with your existing strength program or bodybuilding, whatever you're doing. If you're going to the gym and you're just hitting chest, back, and buys all the time, throw in the jump training. You won't have to do normal cardio. You'll lean out because you're doing 100 and anywhere between, let's say you do 12 sets. And I see a lot of people in the gym doing bodybuilding training that's way beyond 12 sets, 12 total sets. They might do 12 sets per muscle that they're training. So you do a set of jumps for every set. Let's say you're like a typical gym bro and you do a 24 set workout, okay? Chest and back. You know, maybe that's old school, but when I always lifted weights before I got into powerlifting training, I did chest and back. Okay, so it'd be about 24 sets. You throw in jumps after every one, or you tri-set. So you do your bench press or your dumbbell press with a row, and then you do the jumps. That will cook you, and you won't have to do normal cardio. So everybody should try out the jump training. It is not plyometric training. Plyometric training is its own specific thing. It's like people who do circuit workouts call it Tabata, when Tabata is its own protocol. And everybody kind of bastardized the name because it was popular. Tabata is all out sprint for 20 seconds, 10 seconds of rest, repeated 8 sets. Okay? The reason it's a sprint is because you have to get to maximal capacity as quickly as possible. As much as I love kettlebells, a set of snatches is not equivalent to the kind of force production you can get from an all-out sprint. So that's why I never call my kettlebell sessions Tabata sessions, ever. I don't call it that because that's not what it is. I'm not saying that the Tabata is more effective than a half-hour snatch workout. It's not. But that type of training is not a Tabata. And this type of jumping is not plyometric training. They are very different, distinct things. So terminology is important when it comes to training because everything has a specific goal. The jump training that I used to do and still do occasionally, but I want to work it in more, is for conditioning. And I mean, you can maybe build a bit of muscle, but mostly it's to help get the cardio up without having to do boring ass cardio. In the context of kettlebells, for me, just doing clean and press is really boring. So I like to spice it up with extra shit. And the jumping, I feel, complements it pretty well because clean and press or clean and push press is more upper body focused. So it wouldn't make sense to throw in a snatch on the off minute. So I do jump training. I could do kettlebell squats, but my knees were feeling a little beat up. So I stopped doing the weighted jumps too. So yeah, I really like just the jump training is good. But that's the session. 40 minutes on and some rambling because of course. And can somebody explain to me why Asmongold is now a based voice of reason? Because the more I keep watching of Asmongold, the more I'm like, I can't believe I agree that much with this dude on certain things. That is crazy. That Asmongold is like super based. I don't get it. What timeline am I living in?